Good evening, afternoon, friends of love and the scriptures. Welcome tonight to this installment of Love and the Scriptures. You know what the deal is. I'm checking, making sure these other social media sites are um, where they're supposed to be and that they are presenting and recording and going live and all of those things. All the things. uh, so that's what we're up to. We're glad to have you tonight to be thought partners and conversation partners. Things are going to be a little bit tricky tonight because um, my device that I do Instagram from, broadcast Instagram from, I'm actually going to need it for some notes um, for our show tonight. And that's going to be tricky. And I know some of y'all saying you should have done this already before showtime. And I'm going to say to that, as right as you are, I actually left out of a meeting here at school, and I didn't have time. I was sitting up in the meeting actually doing stuff for the show, but didn't have the time to do things right, uh, to get all of this stuff together. So here we are. This is what we're doing. You know what? I just found out a way we can do it. Sister Portia from the San Francisco area is here and with us tonight. Blessings on you, my sister. Good to see you. Good to have you tonight. I tell you what else I need to do too. I need to shout Brother Sterling Brown out. Brother Sterling Brown has been on the show with us several times the last several weeks. And I did not know until after the show. Each time, I didn't know until after the show that Brother Sterling Brown was on there. So I got to give Brother Sterling a shout out because he's been on here with us, and I appreciate so well the fact that he's been showing up and being present with us these few times. Several of you do attend and are on here with us that don't say anything. If you don't say anything, then I do not know that you are here. And if I don't know you here, I can't shout you out. I'd love to. Some of you don't want to be mentioned at all, and I get that part too. And that's okay if that's your preference. I don't prefer that because I want to know if you're watching. I want to know who's out here. I want to know who's listening. I want to know what's going on. But if your comfort level is for you to be present, but to be quiet while you're present, my brother Scooter Brown from Detroit, Michigan is on here. Good to see you, Scoot. Curtis Brown. All right, all right. Good to see you on here, Doc. Um, what else I need to say to us? I'm gonna kind of tell you about why I'm wearing what I'm wearing today. This is our homecoming week at school, and um, each day of the week we have a different theme for the day. Monday was pajama day. Yesterday was uh, it's cartoon, or what's anime, to dress with some kind of cartoon anime figure, which that's way beyond me because I'm not in that lane whatsoever. Um, and this thing is telling me to be ready to start live again, and I'm trying to start this live. Um, Today is, however, your favorite team jersey today. And so for me, let me see where volume is, what we need to do with that. That should be pretty good. Brother Michael Thornton, so good to have you with us on here. All right. Somebody says, "Hey, brother pastor, how you doing? I can't see who you are, but it's so good to see you. Tell me who you are." And so since today is to wear your team jersey, now I wanted to pull that Lions jersey out and wear it because we got some serious Kansas City fans in here, and I just wanted to be like how you like me now. But I decided not to be petty and to go on that one. So I did the You Can't Fail, the Detroit Tigers, baby. And of course, you know, if you know me, I don't half step, I go all the way. So my shorts are Detroit Tigers World Series shorts. Also, I don't know if you can see those. I know this is so uncouth, right? But it is what it is. These the Detroit Tigers shorts. But you know, still, if you know me, I don't half step. I go all the way. So my Detroit jacket, my pullover, I got here also. But if you know me, you know I don't half step. The brother even got the Detroit Tigers sneakers. What's up on that, y'all? Detroit Tigers sneakers. Anybody seen them? Anybody got them? Anyway, so that's what I'm representing. The city that raised me, the city that loved me first and that loves me most. That's how we are attired today. Thank you, Sister Portia. She said she loves it. All right. So we're getting right into You Too Much. Well, it's Detroit, but Detroit born, Detroit bred. When I die, I'm gonna be Detroit dead. Anybody who knows me knows that. So we're gonna get right into our discussion. I'm inviting you, sisters and brothers, to be thought partners and conversation partners. So whatever you hear, what you're thinking, ideas that come to you, something that resonates with you, reaches out to you, something that rubs you the wrong way, something you dislike or not too keen on that I've said, put it in there on Facebook. Say something to me. And as I see the comments or whatever else, then we'll respond to that, because I'm inviting you to be thought partners and conversation partners. All right. Last week, we did what are the 4 pillars of this broadcast, this program called Love and the Scriptures. I've said it this way several times that, you know, this isn't just an idea that's been snatched out of the air. Our producer, who is a visionary, but then a vision caster as well. But then he's a vision matcher. Visionary, somebody who's just able to see things that are beyond where they are and where others are most of the time. Vision caster is somebody who has a vision, who can see things where they are, but actually shares that, actually doesn't take the credit or even the work for themselves, but they actually take that and they put it out there. Hey, brother, who is that? Sir Brina Cooper Johnson. Hey there, so good to have you with us tonight. Blessings on you. But then a vision matcher is somebody who is a visionary who has also the ability to choose somebody who can fit the vision, or somebody that the vision fits, and brings the vision and that person together. That's what kind of person our producer, my producer, Marcus Holmes, is. And so in this idea of loving the scriptures, as he pulled me in on the vision he had for loving the scriptures, it came to me, I was impressed by the Holy Spirit, that there are foundational poles, I call them pillars, I call them tent poles, actually, I call them pillars. There are 4 actual things that hold together or hold down or ground this idea of love in the scriptures. We talked about them last week. The first one is that love is our ethic. Second one, love is intelligent. Number 3 is that Marcus is great. You already know. Yes, indeed. Yes, he is. And the greatness has not been seen yet. Thank you for testifying to what I just said. The number 3 is that love will reign. And the 4th pillar of love in the scriptures is think love first. What I want to do tonight, I went through them on last week and gave a bit of background and understanding to each of them. But what I want to do for the next several days is, next several weeks, the Wednesdays that we have together, I want to talk on each one of them. And so on tonight, I want to talk about individually and particularly specifically about the first pillar, which is love is our ethic. Let me say it again. Love is our ethic. And as I get to this, first admission that I have to make, because I try to stay true to the best spirit of education and scholarship. In that vein, what I mean by that is so people hear stuff and they just steal it. They take it as if it has been their own, as if it was their own. It has been. I'm not that guy. I got a couple of ideas of how that goes. Number one, you recognize for sure that you have to give credit to people for their intellectual property. And so one of the ideas that I have is this. Number one is that if you've said something I've liked, if I got something from you that I like, the standard rule used to be, after you've used it 3 times, giving credit to whoever, then you can use it on your own without any reference to anybody else. And so I've traveled in that sphere for a long while. Second idea that I use when it comes to other people's ideas and thoughts and intellectual property is this. I go by the copyright of the spirit. And what is that? You know, the copyright of the land is that you can't reproduce, you cannot use, you cannot take somebody else's stuff without consent from the person. That's the copyright of the land. The copyright of the spirit is this. You just have to copy it right. So if they said it, if you've heard it somewhere and you're going to use it, you just copy it right if you're going to copy it. And so there's a degree to which I'm there as well. But very seriously, I think it's Francis Bacon who said this, that he who never reads will never be read. He who never quotes will never be quoted. And he who never uses the thoughts of another man's brains proves that he has no brains of his own. And that comes with the reality of knowing that, I've heard this statistic probably when I was high school, maybe a little after that, I was in college, less than 1/2 of 1% that we ever think is original. So that in all of the time that people have lived, in our lifetime, 99 and a half, no, it's more than that, 99 and whatever that math is. I'm a social studies teacher. I teach history. I don't teach math. But whatever that 99.5% more that we think, somebody at some time in human history has already thought it before. So that our own, I used this term earlier, intellectual property, what our mind has produced as its own and is unique. Brother Sterling, I shouted you out earlier in the show. I said to them that you've been on with us the last 3 or 4 shows, and I didn't see you until after I'd gotten off the air, but I told them you've been on here. I told them I needed to shout you out. Sterling Brown, fantastic barber in Detroit, Michigan. So good to have you on here, brother. So that less than 1/2 of 1/2% of what we have as our own brainchild, our own intellectual property, that's the measurement of what we produce as unique and original. So having said that, all of that to say this, that the idea, the concept, love is our ethic, is what I heard from my systematic theology professor at William Tyndale College way back 1987. Carlos Lises, Clifford Lises is his name. Goes by Carlos because he was a missionary to South American countries. Celebrated Bishop London's 50th pastor anniversary, New Jerusalem Temple. Bless God for Bishop London, longtime friend of our church. There in Detroit, longtime friend. Give him my congratulations, please, Brother Sterling. So Carlos Lises is who I first heard the only person I've ever heard make the statement, love is our ethic. And so as a young college student sitting under him in that systematic theology class, he makes the statement, and it struck me so deeply because for me, and this is me describing it 30 plus years later, almost 40 years later, that the quality and the quantity of truth in the statement, I think, is what made the impact on me, even though I have to admit, it took me decades to get a clearer understanding of what the statement meant. Love is our ethic. I knew all the words. I knew what the words meant themselves. But in the way that Carlos Lises put those ideas together, love is our ethic, it took me a long time to understand the essence of what he was talking about. But I never got past. It never left me. It stayed in me until this moment when this show came together, Love in the Scriptures, and that statement, love is our ethic. And of course, I've used it enough times between 1987, 88, and now that, and given credit enough, and I'm even giving credit to Cliff Lises now, but I've done that enough to own it as my own because I've used it as my own. The Spirit brought that to me as one of the pillars, one of the foundation stones that Love in the Scriptures is built on. The principle, the idea, the directive. Love is our ethic. Kind of talked about this last time. In a sense, our beliefs are what is the bottom level of the development of our human civility. Civilization just means living peacefully. I hear Dr. John Henry Clarke in my ears. It says it just means civility. To be civil just means to be peaceful. John Henry Clarke says, and no person has ever taken civilization to any other people in the world. No people has ever taken civilization to any other people. That's what John Henry Clarke said, because everybody, every people group knows how to live peacefully among themselves. He's blasting this idea of Western civilization. It's going way off and something else. But he's blasting this notion that Western civilization, that the European takes civilization to the third world, to Africa and to Asia and to other parts of the world. Nonsense. Because our belief system is what develops what is a civil, what is the condition of being civil, civilization among us. Our beliefs are first. And that can get very detailed because it can consider and include theological things, beliefs in theology. Theology means the study of God or the science of God or the pursuit of God. It can include theology or not, because everybody does not believe in God, right? We have atheists, people with atheistic beliefs who do not believe there is a God. We have people who have agnostic beliefs who say not necessarily that they don't believe there is a God or not. Agnostics, by and large, belief is that they are unable to tell, or that it is unknowable whether God is or whether God exists or not. And so our belief systems, again, they are what is the building block of what as we are a civil being that separates us from animals. As we are civil beings, this belief system is the bottom line. It's ground zero. All right. Who we got on there? All right. Okay, thank you for the affirmation there. But on top of our beliefs, when we have settled what our beliefs are, and even when we haven't, because you know what I've found as I have become older, that more people don't know what they believe than there are people who do know what they believe. Because people don't really take the time to sit and think through, to take the time and sit and work through what they really believe. So many times, a couple of things happen. One, foundationally for our lives, we have what are called embedded beliefs, which means that whatever the social context that we were raised in, whatever the belief system of that social context, family is generally what we call it, then those beliefs become embedded in us because of our exposure to and relationship with those around us. And then related to that, most people's beliefs are borrowed beliefs. They've heard someone talk about beliefs and they adopt that as their own. Or there is a discussion, or it's not that they for themselves have thought through and decided that this is what I believe, this is how I believe, this is why I believe. They've heard others' beliefs, not tested them, not tried them, were impressed, liked what they heard, and have adopted and taken the beliefs for themselves. Have not done the work, sisters and brothers. And let me just take this time to say to us, what makes us whole, what makes us balanced, what makes us mature, what makes us developed as an adult person is when we take the time to think for ourselves, to decide for ourselves what we are going to believe for ourselves. And belief, let me say it again, is ground zero. On top of our beliefs, or what informs or influences our belief, comes our morals. All right. What kind of morality you have, the sense of righteousness or right or wrongness, let me just say it that way, comes out of what belief system you have designed and developed for yourself. What is right? What is wrong? What are moral choices? And when you talk about morality, the frame for that, and some people may not like this, may have a different way on this, and I'm okay with that. Just talk to me, walk with me, and talk with me. Thought partners and conversation partners. That's what I'm asking for. But what we, in terms of my worldview, I told you I have a biblical worldview. That's where I come from with what I understand life to be, how I understand my position and place in the world. It's a biblical worldview. In that worldview, what we have as morality is shaped by the way God has created us. We'll have one of the first stories in the scriptures to be about man eating of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Okay, I got a line on that will really be interesting, I think, to some of y'all. But that idea of what is right and wrong, what is good and what is evil, that is informed by being created by listen to this, good God. Because God is good. As God creates, according to Genesis chapter 1, everything God creates on those 6 days of creation, God says it is good. And so the idea of humans having a sense of morality is because of the way God, and because of being created by a God who is good. And so beliefs then are the foundation of that. Do I believe in God? What do I believe about God? Don't I believe in God? Why don't I believe in God? There are beliefs, and then there's morality that comes on top of that. And out of our morality, we build a standard, or we build a measure, or there for us is a metric, or a barometer, a sense of determining how we execute the moral belief of right and wrong, good and evil that we have. That is our ethics. How our morals are lived out is our ethics. All right. And the pillar for us, for the first one, for loving the scriptures, is that love is our ethic. So that the basis of how I act towards anybody, the basis of how I treat anybody, the basis of how I live in society is on the ethical foundation of love. And when you come to that, there's an interesting kind of dissection that's there, because when you talk about love, as we said last week, there's a theological component to love that is inescapable, because the book of James tells us that love is not an arbitrary, it's not an abstract concept. James will tell us that love is identifiable with a person, and that person is God. God is love. Pastor Gwen Collins, Derek, thank you for the affirmation. Blessings on you. James identifies love with a person with a personality who is God. God is love. That's the theological component to love. And I dare say to us, sisters and brothers, that if love is going to be whole, that if love is going to be true, love's going to be complete and real, it's got to have a connection to who is the source of love, and that is God. However, there is a love that we can know as people that is not theological in nature, because we're made in the image of God. Then as agents created, as man was created in the image of God, as agents created in that way, there is a love in the human sphere. There is a love in the context that we have as people. And that love necessarily is exclusive of God. There are many people who don't believe in God who are in love and have love, that do love and will love. But when you talk about love as an ethic, when I talk about love as our ethic, what governs the whole idea and concept is the biblical worldview that God created us and that God is love. God is good, so that whatever God has created, in God's own words, he says it is good. And so then, love as our ethic has to do with the fact that out of the belief system that we have that forms our moral center, we act from that place. That is our ethic. Love is that ethic. I'm challenging you, sisters and brothers. I'm stopping right here. I'm at 5:29. We had a 5:30 stopping time. But in our group, the Love in the Scriptures group, I'm going to talk more about these ideas, because there are a couple of things that I wanted to say tonight. Don't have time to do that. You can join the Love in the Scriptures group. The QR code is right there. Scan it with your phone, and you can be added. Or if you'd like for me to add you, message me on Facebook, Messenger, or on Instagram. Tell me you want to be in the group. But if you're looking at the screen right now, you can scan the QR code and be part of the Love in the Scriptures group. We're going to continue this discussion on love is our ethic. I'm going to put some prompts in there for us to talk about further. God bless you tonight. Thank you so much for being with us, one and all, and everybody joining from everywhere you are. I love it. Scripture.